that's visible at the touch points of the cloud, the end devices, and especially in the mobile space or the semi-mobile space, like tablets, for instance. And that's just going to vastly increase the number of people and the richness of the services that can be provided. So that is an ongoing story. Now, for public sector officials, it means that they have to pay a bit more attention to whether their services can indeed reach out on all these platforms. It's a challenge because they're not all the same. They don't all obey the same rules. So keeping track of the sets of technologies, making sure that they're interoperable is a challenge. So, but this is a trend. I don't think it's going to go away. It might actually improve as the standards mature. So I suppose in the short term it's going to be a bit complicated because there will be a diversity of platforms out there, computing platforms, at the end user level. But in the slightly longer term, I believe it will mature and things will settle down a little bit. Back in the background, where the software actually sits and where the data actually sits, like I said, the security things will have to develop further, and it's a very active area. People are seriously looking into issues of how do you keep the data secure out there? How can the clients of cloud services be assured, not just get them to sign off that they give you the rights or they waive away certain concerns, but that you give them certain control over the data even though it sits somewhere else in the world, outsourced, offshore. How can that be done? I think the whole field of cryptography has a lot to do with this, and it will play a very important role. The question is, how do you apply it in a way that is practical and meets the standards of confidentiality and so on and so forth. Developing story, but I think as this one improves, the level of comfort that governments will have in especially public cloud will increase. Actually, in some parts of the world, they are even not comfortable with private cloud sitting somewhere else, but I think that one is going down. But I can imagine many smaller, let's say local, regional governments who do not have the budgets to support large infrastructure. A cloud-based service somewhere else is attractive financially, operationally, it works. But most likely the outsourcing, offshoring concerns will still have to be addressed. And if it's, let's say, a private cloud operated on behalf of many local governments, I think that is going to be pretty much accepted practice. It will be very hard to envision that local governments will want to continue to buy small little computers just to run their own things because they don't trust the infrastructure to connect them to the central or to the cloud. Nobody likes to talk about central computing, but to connect them to the cloud anymore, because I think the march of telecom technology is relentless and it's very, very fast. So, and it's driven by consumers. Everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to serve. So naturally, the governments will also enjoy the benefit of falling telecom connectivity costs, and that will, I believe, drive increasing use of cloud-based services, even though it may still be, for public sector, internal public administration, still very much private in the medium term. Some form of integration or interoperability between private government clouds and the public clouds where citizens and businesses will increasingly live. How can governments serve them by being there in a virtual sense? The computing service is extended to them in a very secure and accountable way. Remember this whole problem about on the internet nobody knows you're a dog. That applies to a human being. It will even apply more when, let's say, you have a cloud-based service that wants to talk computer to computer, web service to a government thing. How do you know who's that computer on that end? And whose computer is it? Whose service is it? And who's it operating, says that it's operating on behalf of who? How do you establish all these links? But I think this is another trend that will develop, because this trend is undeniable. Facebook, all the, like I said, CRM, so on and so forth. It's strong, it's not going to go away. This one, all the good benefits for 21st century infrastructure is not going to go away either. The only question is, same old thing, how to improve public administration and services of government to citizens. Now that citizens have moved somewhere else, you better move there. It's as simple as that.